Indy darling.
Marked Out Wrestling Podcast presents. Brian.
I was in the ring, he was on the outside.
Strung him up.
I did. That was a shine. He would know when to do it. He had the noose on, worked out great, but in hindsight, looks a little hateful. But he ended up using the chair, swinging it back, and hitting me perfect.
He would hit it, and the way certain people would sell it. Nobody sold a stunner like The Rock.
Thank you.
He would do like 85 backflips.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Because that's what I do. I'm Mr. Wrestling.
When Zack Sabre Jr. has you tied in knots.
Indy. McIndyface.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marked Out Podcast, brand new show, Indy McIndyface, Volume 1. This is your boy Golda here, with my not quite as heavy Brian.
That's right. Thank you for having me here, sir.
Well, this is our show, sir.
That's right. I know. I'm
not having you. We're just having a wonderful new show.
That's right, man. We are.
So, this is a brand new show. This isn't a show we're going to talk about Raw, SmackDown. We're going to talk about the Indies. But to fully explain what this show is going to be about, I'm going to throw it to Brian.
Yeah, so, for a while, Golda and I, we've been wanting to do something that kind of focused more on the wrestling that wasn't on Monday night or Tuesday night or on the WWE network for $9.99, which you can subscribe to anytime, whenever you want. But I digress. We wanted to do something that really focused on, just the other guys, everything that was outside. What half the people that are on TV, more than half actually, that are on TV right now, where do you think they came from? They came from doing the small gyms, doing the armories, or doing the VFW halls, whatever it is, and getting paid peanuts to go do something that they love. So that's something that we wanted to kind of go focus on. And we're doing this show from Charlotte, North Carolina, and there is just so much good wrestling that's around here. So we just kind of wanted to bring that to light, but also focus on the other things too, such as Ring of Honor, New Japan, PWG, the bigger ones. And we really wanted to just kind of shine some light on that, because even though that wrestling, some of the wrestling is on television, but some places it's harder to follow or to find. Right, yeah. Most bigger indies, they have like some kind of subscription service they're on, whether it's Flow Slam, the High Spots Network, there's Get Progress, there's so many. New Japan has I'm trying to say, what is it? New Japan World. Yeah, New Japan World, yeah. I subscribed to it for a month, but all of the stuff was in Japanese, and I couldn't do it. Konnichiwa. I couldn't do that. But yeah, we're also going to do interviews too. Like today we have a good interview. It's J.T. Davidson. He's the manager for Sami Callihan, OI4K, Abyss. That's right. So, that's going to be our show today. Yeah, the Iron Manager. Yeah, the Iron Manager, exactly. The Wrangler of the Space Cat. That's right. The Grim Reaper of the Killer Cult. That's right. Let's see. So we had a lot, let's say the last month or so, go on in indie wrestling. We had some good shows in Charlotte, but the biggest shows had to have been the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 USA shows that happened in Long Beach the weekend before 4th of July. Yeah, this was their big coming out party to the United States, and I mean they made a splash for sure. Oh, for sure. They've had co-branded shows in the past, but this is their first entirely New Japan branded show. Right. Like they weren't with TNA, Ring of Honor. It was standalone of New Japan, and it was a hit. I mean, the tickets sold out in like 10 minutes. I know. I wanted to go. I'm pretty sure. I could have. Yeah, if they would have known they were going to sell that good, they would have booked the Forum, right, or something instead of the little Long Beach Convention Center. That's right. But they didn't know that it was going to be such a smash. I mean, it's Americans. This is a whole new world for them. Sure. How are they supposed to know that if the Americans were going to shell out all this money in 10 fucking minutes? Clearly, they're listening though, because obviously, and clearly, we're watching because, like you said, the event sold out. It was. Definitely say that it was a success as far as getting themselves, getting their name out here to a new audience, and even getting some older names involved in the mix too, to kind of bring in some older fans as well.
You know, Billy Gunn was on the ticket.
That's right.
Jushin Thunder Liger, which seems to be a lot of people's like first dip into Japanese wrestling.
Yeah,
is usually
absolutely.
Jushin Thunder Liger or Great Muta or Hayabusa.
Yep.
One of those. You know, so the show itself, they crowned the brand new IWGP United States champion. They had a nice little 8-man tournament. Your boy Juice Robinson was in there. Zack Sabre Jr. They had Jay Lethal, Ishii.
Naito, right?
Who?
Naito?
Yes, Naito, yes. He lost to Ishii in the first round. They also, I think it said Zack Sabre Jr., Hangman Page.
Right.
So, I mean, it was a phenomenal tournament. All the matches were good. My favorite match might have been the Juice Robinson versus Zack Sabre Jr. opening round match. The story they told at the end when Juice Robinson was so close. He was like 2 inches from grabbing the rope. But then Zack Sabre Jr. had him in like a modified octopus stretch. And then he wrenched back real hard on it. And Juice had to tap out. I thought that was just amazing storytelling for a match.
Right. And you know, it's funny too. I mean, so for someone that doesn't watch any New Japan or anything, for them to see this match, they'll go, oh, hey, that's the guy from the Cruiserweight Classic. Oh, hey, that's the guy with the dreads that used to be a nature freak or whatever it was.
Right.
You know, now, so they'll recognize them, but now they actually get to see them wrestle. Well, not so much Zack Sabre Jr., but Juice Robinson more so, because, I mean, he's newer to the indies since being gone from WWE, but now he's had enough time where he's been on his feet and been doing his thing over in Japan and doing a great job.
Right, and, you know, the winner of tournament was Kenny Omega. He's probably had, like, the best year maybe anybody outside of WWE has ever had in wrestling. The way he won the G1 Summit, he fought Okada for the belt in a 45-minute barn burner. Their rematch was a 60-minute time limit draw, and then his match with Ishii in the finals was a phenomenal match.
I mean, they're smart to create this belt first of all. But I mean, to also have it on someone as Kenny Omega, just because, you know, after they've already announced they have the whole thing with Hot Topic and all the shirts being sold out within, I mean, if you were lucky enough to get one, I applaud you, because they were gone, you know, in the blink of an eye.
Right.
Like I said, Kenny Omega, I mean, he's one of the leaders that kind of at the head of this whole non-WWE wrestling resurgence. So it's cool to have New Japan, first of all, to recognize someone like him, to give him the belt. And, I mean, he's someone that's accepted from the crowd, so it's just a win-win situation, and I'm fucking super excited to see where they go now. And I know they announced that they're going to be opening New Japan Dojo.
Yeah, Dojo, and they're going to actually have offices in Los Angeles.
That's right.
Which the dojo itself is phenomenal. And, you know, speaking of New Japan, Kevin Kelly, who was the big time, he was the do-it-all for Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. He was the backstage guy. He was the play-by-play man. He was the guy that would do all of the Facebook videos talking about the next events and stuff. Well, New Japan lured him away so that he can help them in their expansion in the United States, which is huge.
You know, I mean, it's kind of a strange move, and I agree with you. It definitely is huge, because Kevin Kelly, he can add so much to the New Japan offices that they're going to be having here in the U.S. But it's weird that he's leaving Ring of Honor at this time, when it seems that Ring of Honor is kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're on a downside. They're as popular as ever.
Right.
So for him to leave at this point and to jump to New Japan, it kind of raises some eyebrows as to say where people think that who's going to be leading the product, who's really going to be making a splash come 2018.
I mean, I really don't see how within the next 5 years New Japan isn't the top indie in America.
Do you think they're going to be bigger than GFW?
Yes.
I do too.
I don't think that's going to be very hard to do with Jeff Jarrett in charge. He's a fucking douche.
Well, yeah.
But
Arguable.
You got to love his hustle. The way he got kicked out of Impact, or TNA at the time. Mm-hmm. Created some shitty little promotion, and then all of a sudden got brought back into Impact, and then sold them the rights to his shitty little promotion, and then they used that name for the promotion. I mean, his long game's on point. You can't knock that.
No, I mean, he's definitely, he knows what he's doing as far as the business goes, but, you know, I definitely, if we're going to talk about GFW, it is kind of strange that, you know, I mean, how long have they been around for? I remember...
2002, I want to say? 2001?
GFW.
Oh, GFW.
2013, right?
3 years.
2014,
yeah.
maybe? I don't know. I mean, there's no real equity or anything in any of their belts, so it's just kind of strange as to why Impact or TNA would kind of make it a big deal to bring them in.
I would say that Jeff Jarrett made that a sticking point in coming back.
Oh,
say this is what you're going to have to do to get me to come back and quote unquote save your promotion.
I guess he didn't really want to. Well, you wouldn't be burying it. I mean, it's not like they were going to continue on with the Impact name, which.
Well, they had to change it just to distance themselves from the train wreck that was
true.
Dixie. Since we're going off the rails a little bit now about the New Japan card itself.
Yeah.
Which we talked about Omega and Ishii. You know, Okada and Cody for the IWGP Heavyweight Belt. I really thought it was going to be a better match.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking Cody at all. I'm not knocking Okada. I guess I'm comparing that match to what I saw with Kenny Omega, which isn't fair.
Do you think they should have swapped? Do you think it should have been Omega? And I understand that what they're doing with the storyline and there's a rift between the two, but in the bigger picture, do you think that it should have been Omega being the one to face Okada in a match like that on U.S. soil?
I think they wanted to put the belt on Omega to really give the belt some legitimacy, and then they're gonna have a rematch. And I would say it's gonna be at the next Wrestle Kingdom, which would be like January 3rd or 4th or something like that.
You're talking about Omega and
Okada. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Right.
That's gonna be saved for like the biggest show of the year, which that's their WrestleMania.
Right.
That's where it's in the Tokyo Dome, where they're packing in 70,000 people. That is where that rematch should be.
Yeah.
No question. That's a WrestleMania match. So they need to have it at their WrestleMania.
They need to. And, they could stretch it out. I mean, that's a story that, they really can really just kind of... I'd be totally fine if they drag it out and plant little seeds here and there, but the guys, just have it, the big culmination,
right?
Like you said.
Like I said, it gives Omega something to do. He's going to legitimize the belt and have some defenses. This way, whenever he drops it to somebody that's deserving, it's got some value. It's not like just some new belt,
Whenever he drops it to Cody to sign to NXT.
Right.
Maybe
Which
not.
might happen.
Hey, you never fucking know.
He's waiting for the Bucks, pretty much. If they want to go, he's going to go. But like you said, with this deal with Hot Topic, why would they want to?
Right. Why sign over your rights? Why do that? I mean, unless they can work out a deal where, we have guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe where they're still coming in with their names and it seems that they have, a little bit more leeway than some other guys do. And I could see Young Bucks and Omega definitely doing the same.
And plus, I mean, they have to be making high six figures with what they're making from New Japan, with what the Bucks are making from Ring of Honor, and all of their fucking merch, which is including, Young Bucks, their website, Pro Wrestling Tees, Hot Topic.
Yep.
Which, Pro Wrestling Tees makes all those shirts that go to Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So, they're making killer money off this deal, too.
They also announced, I'm not sure you saw this, but they're also going to be having their, I believe it's going to be in either later this month or whenever they restock in August, but they're going to be including the Los, was it Incognito? I can't say it.
Ingobernables?
Yes, Ingobernables. Thank you.
It's basically the ungovernables.
I don't speak Spanish.
So that's why.
Right. So they're going to be having... the Japanese version of their shirt.
And they're bringing over Marty Scurll. Sorry, Marty, according to JR, Marty Scurll.
Marty
Scurll is going to have shirts there, too. So, I mean, the way that this is taken off, basically anybody that's in New Japan is going to have shirts in Hot Topic.
Do they have the New Japan patch on them?
I want to say yes. My Bullet Club shirt did.
I know the Bullet Club one did because that came directly from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Well, Pro Wrestling Tees are making all these shirts.
Right, but I wonder.
Well, I mean, my Bullet Club shirt I bought at WrestleMania week last year in Dallas. So I bought that at the Ring of Honor show. So I didn't buy it from Pro Wrestling Tees. I bought it from them.
Okay.
And it has the patch on it.
That's right.
So, I mean, all of New Japan shirts are made from Pro Wrestling Tees.
That much I know, but maybe this is our next fight.
No, not at all. We don't fight ever. We're twinsies. All right, next up we have the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice. The Young Bucks, they retained, obviously. And Roppongi Vice, they split up, went their separate ways. Which it was a really good match. You got Rocky Romero got hit with a Meltzer driver on the outside. That was fucking amazing.
Flipping one from the top rope.
Yes, that was a barn burn. It was that was a good quality tag match.
Yeah.
And you had the Guerrillas of Destiny against War Machine for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Belts. The Guerrillas of Destiny actually dropped the belts to War Machine. That match was great. Chase Owens came running down, throwing a fucking table in the ring, which ended up getting used by the War Machine. They did their finisher. I forget what it's called. Forgive me. But it was basically like a twisting, sit out power bomb, and the other guy, Hanson, jumps off the top rope with a leg drop. It was through a table. It was fucking amazing. So, I mean, Bullet Club didn't have a very good day. Or actually both days. Aside from Omega winning.
Well, I mean, they're just...
They lost all their multi-man matches.
They're just out there just to have... they're the name. The other matches were really kind of the bigger draw, but obviously people are going to tune in when the Young Bucks are in a big tag match. That's going to be fun.
Especially Kushida was there. He's a phenomenal talent.
Yep.
He's also in the Ring of Honor. He's the Ring of Honor TV champ. But so we're gonna get off the rails of the New Japan, and we are gonna go to a local show I went to last week, which you don't know anything about. So I'm kind of gonna talk to you a little bit about it.
That's right. Yeah,
About the people that were there, because I went to it was PWX, which is a local Charlotte promotion. It is probably the best indie in the Southeast. That's not me saying that because I go to all the shows. It's legit. I mean, Cedric Alexander came from here, so obviously it's not bad. And it was a doubleheader in the same venue later in the night. I got to see my very first Evolve show, which was Zack Sabre Jr., Timothy Thatcher, ACH, Fred Yehai. So it was a good show. But PWX, if you guys don't know, it's a nice local promotion. Anthony Henry, he's their champ. He's from Augusta, Georgia. Real good guy. You know, we have the Syndicate, which is like their strong stable, which is 3 guys. They have the mid-card belt, the ITV belt, and they have the tag belts with Timmy Lou Retton and his partner. And Timmy Lou Retton was actually just on NXT at the tapings. He was in a dark match.
There we go.
So he made his little enhancement debut, which is good. Let's see. We also had a 4-way dance. We had Chase Owens, Bullet Club, representing.
Oh, yeah.
Darius Lockhart, nice Charlotte boy. Jason Cade, and Chip Day. So that was a good 4-way match. During this match, my fucking chair exploded, and I ended up sitting on the ground. Like, Chase Owens is like at my feet on the ground, and then my fucking chair just explodes underneath me.
Did you get a new one at least?
Yes.
Okay.
I sat there through the whole match because I figured it'd be less embarrassing if I waited to get up while everybody else was standing and cheering at the end. But
yeah, that's true. That's
but yeah,
smart.
my ass hits the ground. Chase Owens is like, "Hey, bub, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just embarrassed." He
what a guy.
He was like, "Yeah, man, that's fucked up." I was like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm selling, man. I got you, bro. I got you." So, I mean, I never saw him wrestle before. He was real nice, dude. He was out there selling Bullet Club merch. He's probably the top seller that day. But then we had our Evolve show, which had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Timothy Thatcher for the Evolve Championship. Thatcher is the former champ. He held the belt for like 569 days or 596 days, almost 2 full years.
That's a very long time.
And he was finally getting his rematch. It was no holds barred. It was just a phenomenal match. The first 10 minutes were outside the ring. They were just beating the fucking piss out of each other. And then they got in the ring, and it was a nice technical masterpiece. It was wonderful. Then we had, there was the tag match for the titles. It was 2 PWX guys. It was James Drake versus the PWX champ, Anthony Henry. They call themselves the Workhorsemen. And it was versus... I forget their names, to be honest with you. I didn't do my research very good, apparently. But they are part of Catchpoint, which is Timothy Thatcher's stable. Okay. There. It was I forgot their names. But they were beasts, man. They were good. But they dropped the belts to the PWX guys, which everybody lost their shit because they didn't think that the local boys were actually going to go over.
Right.
But then we realized the next night they were going to be in Georgia, all the guys on the show. Oh, they're just going to drop the belts the next night. They didn't. So, the local PWX boys are still the champs.
So now they're
for Evolve,
which
really is a good thing because now they're going to be quote unquote national instead of being, the regional indie darlings.
Right. Well, I mean, hopefully that leads to
exactly. If you go to Evolve, show out, that's going to lead maybe going to AAW, maybe going to PWG. Which that can only benefit your career, especially when you're an indie guy making peanuts per show.
Sure, and they're part of the whole WWN network or WWN Live, right?
And both of these shows you can watch on FlowSlam.tv. I think it's like $20 a month, but there's
is it $20? I
think it's $20 a month.
Oof.
But I mean, there's so many shows you can watch. Maybe it's cheaper than that. I really think it's 20, but don't quote me. But it's all indie shows, and they live stream them. I mean, I think PWG has shows on there.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many things. It's really worth it. I have it myself. So if I miss a PWX show, I can watch it.
I'd rather sign up for the New Japan World and listen to the Japanese
commentary.
Sorry, I like it.
Well, as long as it's not JR, I guess. calling Marty Skrull, Marty Sherrill.
Marty Sherrill.
Or Barnett calling it a front. What did he call an enziguri?
He called an enziguri a step-up toe kick. So
this isn't fucking UFC. They're not step-up toe kicks. It's a fucking enziguri.
I didn't mind it. I mean, he's a guy that has experience, so maybe that's what it's called in the MMA world. So he's bringing his knowledge over. I don't expect him to be talking. I see him more as an MMA guy. I know he's done pro wrestling matches before.
He was on Impact, I think, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was on Impact.
I want to say he was.
He used to do like those shoot wrestling fights. It was like
Go
check it out.
Yeah, it's blah blah. It's shoot wrestling.
I don't know. The commentary, I'd be happy listening in Japanese. I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, because I always get whenever you actually hear something in American. Brainbuster! It's like you get really hyped because you
I'm
actually
learning
heard
as
something.
I'm watching. That's it. You know what I mean? Come on.
Kevin Owens learned English by watching JR.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's the same difference.
Telling his mom he just made a slobber knocker in his toilet.
Ooh, a slobber knocker.
Right.
Ooh, in his diaper?
Yeah,
nice.
A little KO. Talking about how he that damn Jezebel gave him like a... Never mind. Keep going. Yeah,
it's off the rails here. But now it's time for the show where we are going to have our very first interview. It is, like I said, it's J.T. Davidson. He's Sami Callihan's manager. It's a really good interview. We had lots of fun talking to him. So we're going to let you guys hear it. All right, guys, on the line today, we have the Wrangler of the Space Cat, the Grim Reaper of the Killer Cult. He is the Iron Manager of Professional Wrestling, Mr. J.T. Davidson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very good, and I've never been called a Grim Reaper before, so that's a new one for me.
I think it works perfect because you're like the leader of the guys, you know?
Absolutely, I love it.
Awesome. All right, so we're really excited to have you on the show. We have Brian.
What's going on, JT? Thanks for joining us, man.
And working the board for us today, we have Mr. Adam Baum.
Hey, JT, gonna do my best.
All right, man. First things first. What made you fall in love with professional wrestling?
Well, it's fun. I really didn't watch wrestling when I was like a little kid, but I was a big fan of like the big muscled up guys. Like I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger, I loved Sylvester Stallone, and I loved Hulk Hogan. But it was by proxy. I didn't watch him on wrestling. He was on Thunder in Paradise at the time, so that's where I was introduced to Hogan and maybe some of the movies. But I remember when I was like 12 or 13. I was just flipping through the channels, and Monday Nitro was on, and I really didn't watch wrestling, but I saw Hulk Hogan, and he was wrestling Randy Savage for the World Championship.
Oh, was that before he turned NWO?
He was, it was already NWO. It was already, but again, I didn't. This probably was, I don't know, 98 or something like that.
Okay.
But I didn't. I didn't know the storyline. I didn't know who was a babyface, who was a heel. All I knew was I liked Hulk Hogan. So he ended up winning the championship from Randy Savage live on Nitro. And I come running out of my room, and I'm like, Mom, Hulk Hogan just won the world championship. And she just goes, I didn't know you watched wrestling. And I was like, I didn't either. Like that, So literally that was the first night. And after that, I had to tune back in to see what was going on. And, as the Monday Night Wars, wore on, I was the kid that had, I got a cable splitter, and I had an old black and white TV that I set on top of my color TV, so that I could watch Raw at the same time I could watch Nitro, since they were at the same time. So it was a crazy time for pro wrestling.
So you were a WCW fan first, and then you kind of switched to WWE, or was it mostly WCW?
I'd have to say, yeah. I mean, Nitro was what caught my attention, and I've always been one of those guys that, I pick sides, so
right.
Automatically because, Hogan was my guy, I kind of started off like, this is what I like to watch, but that stuff on the other channel is pretty cool, so,
right, yeah, I was the same way. Like, Hulk Hogan was my first love in wrestling, so I watched WWF at the time all the way through. Then when he jumped over, I left WWE completely, went to WCW. And then, when Austin started getting big and I started switching over that way, and then WCW died.
So I was the dumb kid who rooted for the Warrior.
For the Warrior?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I bought into it. I was that age.
I remember that was actually on my birthday at that WrestleMania. I remember crying with my friends because I was like 5 years old. bawling on my birthday because Hulk Hogan lost. It was fucking horrible.
Were you upset when WCW went under?
I can't say that I was, because I mean it had gotten so bad for so long.
Right.
You know, that was the thing. When you started to look, when Saturn and Malenko and all those guys, Guerrero, Benoit, when all those guys came over to WWE, you knew it was going down.
Sure.
You know, you knew what was happening. But when Russo and Ferrara got there, and the internet was starting to pick up speed, so you started to get the dirt sheets, and you started to know, oh, well, this is happening backstage, and this and that.
Yeah, the Radicals exit was big.
What's that?
The Radicals exit kind of was the first, shot to basically signify and realize that was going to end.
Oh, it was. Well, I mean, I think Jericho and like the Big Show were the first shots, but when you start to, get down to it, those four guys leaving the night after Benoit won the championship, it's like, oh, yeah, that's not good. But yeah, when it finally went under, I don't know, there was probably a little part of me, because they were in Panama City Beach, Florida, and they did the outdoor show. But see, they did, for me, that first night, WWE did such a good job with that simulcast, where Vince McMahon is on one channel, and then Shane McMahon's on the other, and they're talking to each other. The excitement of, wow, what's going to happen next, completely dwarfed any, nostalgia, that I might have had, because it seemed like it was going to really pick up and be interesting. Of course, the first year of it, before they brought in any of the big stars, ended up kind of being lackluster, but, it was still interesting nonetheless.
Very true, very true. All right, so you said that you started back in 1998 watching, but how about when did you start, getting kind of the itch that you wanted to kind of get in there yourself, whether it be mixing it up as a wrestler or going in as a manager?
Well, that was the era of the late night best of backyard wrestling DVDs. That was always on TV. So me and my friends, obviously, we had to, follow suit. There was a group of us that were not athletes, were not the popular kids at school, and we would always just, go home after school and, beat each other up on mattresses. So that's what we were doing. But basically, I mean, I'd have to say, good grief. I think the first tape I remember seeing was like from 2001, Okay. And I know, I graduated from high school a few years later, and the year after I graduated from high school, I was chasing around a local independent company, offering to set up the ring, tear down the ring.
Sure.
That type of stuff, just trying to get some training. And I know my first match was in 2006. So, that's kind of a brief, timeline right there.
Okay. So you said you used to do backyard stuff then, huh?
Oh, yeah. And of course I have different opinions on that now than I did back then.
Exactly. That leads to my next question. I mean, because I know for a while, because actually myself, I actually used to wrestle as well. I got my training back in ECPW back in New Jersey back in, when was that, 2004 now. But I used to be a backyarder as well. And I know back in the time, people weren't really talking about it. They were like, I used to backyard, but you didn't really say it when you went to wrestling school or anything like that. So now looking back at it, were you that way too? And now that it's 2017, I know a lot more guys are kind of open about it. Are you the same way, or what are your feelings about it?
Well, I think you have to be open about it to some extent. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things. It's a real part of your history, and I think it's really a part of American history now, like pop culture. It's something that was on the mainstream. There was documentaries made about backyard wrestling, so it's a real thing. I have to believe there's not as many kids out there now, that are doing, putting each other through barbed wire boards and stupid crap like that. Yeah. In their backyard. Than there were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it's definitely run its course to a certain extent. And you also have to think about what was on TV. Back then,
Sure.
You had ECW and WWE that were much more hardcore for the time. Today, if you're looking at mainstream pro wrestling, it's definitely much more PG. But as far as any advice I would give to kids, I would say don't do it. And it's really just because, like myself, I have nagging injuries in 2017 that I got in the backyard in 2003. And that's stupid.
Right.
Why would you, do that to yourself? why should you do that to yourself for nothing?
Sure.
But at the time, I thought, oh, I'm honing my craft. This is amazing. And it's like, oh, wait.
Exactly. Starving artist, right. No, but I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, it's tough to say that when you're in the moment and, you just want to kind of go out there and just experience it and do it. But looking back at it, that's a solid point.
JT, in my mind, that's how it was. So, yeah.
Right.
JT, you've been with a lot of promotions, Legacy Wrestling, CZW, Rockstar. What was kind of your favorite promotion to work for?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble.
They could all be your favorites. What goes to the top of the list?
Well, we all know Rockstar is kind of your home promotion.
Yeah, well, Rockstar is my home promotion. I can tell you that Rockstar, I do upwards of 60 shows a year just for Rockstar. So because we have a weekly television taping on Wednesdays, and then the first Friday of every month, we have our iPay-per-view taping. So, I mean, that right there keeps you busier than what a lot of independent guys, are on an annual basis. But regardless, Rockstar Pro got me where I am. I have to give credit to CZW for launching me on a larger platform. But I think the company that I work for the most regularly that has done the most for me in the past, year and a half is definitely AAW in Chicago. And then I'd have to say House of Hardcore, Tommy Dreamer's promotion. Definitely put me on a more national scale. Especially like with House of Hardcore being on Blow Slam, things like that. So a lot of good promotions, but I think those, as far as what they've done for my career, what they've done for OI4K in the past year, AAW, and then House of Hardcore would be the two. Right.
I was at the in like a Lion iPay PV. Was it the end of February, early March?
Yeah.
I was the guy sitting next to you while you're booking your minivan to go to AAW, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I really love the show. It's my first time in Dayton, and you guys blew me away with how nice and hospitable you guys are. Every single person on the roster shook my hand, introduced themselves, and I'm just a guy filming stuff for a documentary, and everybody was treating me like I was on the roster, which is absolutely great. Especially, we stayed at Dave's house. I talked with Jake, Sami, everybody that is there. What is your favorite moment that you had while doing Rockstar?
Well, I guess I'd have to say that my most proud moment, and it would be this past December. Zachary Wentz, who I'm sure you guys know, he and I had a Dayton street fight, one-on-one match. I only wrestle once a year, and that's at Rockstar, just for those fans. And he and I went out there and just absolutely tried to murder each other. Definitely a hard-hitting, bloody match, but at the end of it, for me personally, I when I walked through the curtain, I got a standing ovation from all the boys in the back, which meant the world to me. And then it was actually for a lot of the fan forums and one of our local big wrestling podcasts, they voted it Match of the Year.
Nice.
So for me, only performing once a year, and what I've been, the verbiage that was used was, look, it wasn't Match of the Year for a manager, it was Match of the Year. It was one of the matches of the year. And the buy rates back it up because our director has access to all of DVD sales, online purchases, things like that. And it's the number one selling pay-per-view for 2016.
Wow.
So, again, for me, that's my proudest moment. Just, to be able to say, look, I am a manager, yes, but in that particular instance, I was the draw.
JT, where can we see this match?
My number one suggestion is to download the Rockstar Pro network. It's only $7.99 a month. You have unlimited access to everything on the network, and I believe that there is a free trial period. You can get it for a month. But it was a killer Christmas 2016. And also, if you go to rockstarpro.com, you should be able to find that DVD as well.
Very cool. All right, yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out.
Also, JT, can you name us some of the Dayton Indy standouts that we should take notice of that we're going to start recognizing and seeing come up? Anybody you think that we're going to get notice of?
Yeah, I mean, you guys obviously know Desmond Xavier just got signed to TNA.
Yes. He's got the best hairline in the business, man.
Oh, he does. He's one of my guys, like mine and Dave's guys. We filmed him at a absolutely crappy wrestling show, just struggling, and he was about to quit the business. We brought him up to Rockstar, and now he's in TNA. So, what a awesome turnaround for him. Obviously, Zachary Wentz, one half of Scarlet and Graves. He's somebody that's, I think, really going to start to stand out here soon. He's back in the gym, starting to beef up. And then Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel just started with AAW, but I'm telling you, that kid is ridiculously talented. Myron Reed, somebody that's coming through, starting to get a lot of buzz, and then somebody who I wish would get out more, but is extremely talented, is a guy by the name of Clayton Jackson. Clayton is pretty much only a rock. Clayton Jackson, yeah, he's a big dude. I mean, just jacked to the gills. But he mostly just wrestles at Rockstar right now. But if we can get him out and move it, I think he would, really stand out in the Indies. But yeah, those are my guys.
So the last guy that you mentioned. So as far as what do you mean get out? You mean you want him? So you're actually encouraging him to work outside of AAW?
Yeah, do the drives, man.
Right.
Well, I'm encouraging him to work outside of Rockstar Pro. That's where he.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Right.
But I would love to get him into more. I'd like to get him more exposure. Is I guess what I'm saying. He's a guy that, and this happens a lot in pro wrestling. You get somebody who, unfortunately, I think they get comfortable where they're at, and they start to get nervous about, well, can I make it somewhere else?
Sure.
And I've been there. He's a guy I think has all the talent in the world. I would just like to see him get out and, get more exposure, get more experience.
Right. Well, so speaking of that, I mean, with NXT now kind of, they're taking notice of the indie scene for the past, now they're signing, it seems, every other week, it seems. Do you think that they're helping the business, or do you think that they're hurting it in any way, that they're kind of not drawing up the market? Because it seems that anytime someone leaves, it seems that there's always somebody that steps up and maybe then some.
Sure. I think NXT, if they're helping anybody, they're helping WWE. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's a huge new revenue stream for them. As far as the indies go, I think the indies are just super hot right now. And, Triple H is smart enough to look at the indies and go, oh, I can capitalize on that. Right. But the thing about it is, the indies, and I was talking to somebody else about this last night, the indies being as hot as they are, to me, is just a natural progression of the lack of true competition at WWE. Again, you go back to the Monday Night Wars, and it was WCW, ECW as the foils to WWE, and that created that competition. Well, we have no mainstream major competition right now. So now people of our generation who are in their 30s or a little bit older, they want something that reminds them of their youth, which for us is the late 90s, early 2000s. And it's like, the Indies is the only place to get that feeling. You can't just flip the channel anymore. You can't just, buy an ECW pay-per-view. You want to see wrestling where people have real heart and they're really putting their bodies on the line.
Sure.
You got to go to an indie show.
Right.
And with that said, right now, because, there are a lot of people out there that can, risking bad bookings and lack of storylines, and when they might be these indie darlings, would you advise anybody that you talk to go to WWE right now versus staying as a main eventer on the indies?
Well, it depends. If you're a guy Chris Hero had that option. He was making good money.
Yeah, good example.
On the indies. Making very good money. But he decided that that would be his option. Like I don't think Hero did it for the money. I think he did it for the dream that all of us had, where he goes, you know what, this is because he's almost 40. Right. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, and I never spoke to him about this, but it would be something along the lines of, if I ever want to, main event WrestleMania, now's my time.
Sure.
I don't think it was the money. Now, other guys, I can tell you that my guys, if WWE called and any of them said no, I'd punch them in the face.
Right. I mean, how can you say no?
Well, yeah, and it's about a payday. It's about the paycheck at that point. And then once you go, look at Sami. Sami spent 2 years in developmental. They never really did anything with him. But as soon as he came back from WWE, his booking fees were able to go up. He was able to make a better living on the Indies because of it. And he'll go back. I guarantee it. I know for a fact he speaks to William Regal on the regular. But it helped his marketability on the Indies. And now he's got so many other things going for him. He's either going to, continue on the path he's on, or he's going to go back to WWE. He's always got 15 ideas, but it was good for him.
Right.
At the end of the day, any exposure, any marketability is good.
Yeah, and it's definitely great that he's proving that you definitely don't need the WWE quote unquote machine behind you to be successful.
Oh yeah, and the guys that when WWE doesn't get behind them and then they make a name for themselves on the Indies and bring them back. You mentioned Chris Hero, but Drew McIntyre. Yep. There's a slew of them, and if Sami goes back, there's another one. So at least WWE can admit when they're wrong now and stuff like that because of the indie circuit.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's a direct correlation between them having NXT though, because before it was you were on the main roster and they didn't have that room. Now it's like, okay, well let's see what you did on the Indies. Let's see if you can adapt it to this bigger stage, and then okay, now that worked. Now we'll put you up there. There's a little bit more wiggle room since you have that bigger roster now.
Yeah, that's true. I have one question for you. When you manage, are you just like on an on-camera role, or do you handle bookings for your people? Merch sales, things like that.
Okay, so for the OI4K group itself, and I'm excluding Sami from this because Sami's on a whole other level.
Right, exactly.
But for my group, Dave takes care of most of the bookings. However, anything else is pretty much me. Merchandising, anything to do with deals. Like I know I just, when we did our pro wrestling tees deals, that was me. We just, we're signing a deal with Bottom Line Merch from Pennsylvania right now. I'm, actually getting signatures from the guys where I can be their benefactor on those deals. So yeah, when I actually left wrestling for about 4 years, and this is really, it was kind of what started me on the path to managing anyway. I got married, then I got divorced. But during that time, I wasn't really involved with wrestling. But I became very successful in the business world outside of wrestling. I was a regional manager for a large nutrition company.
Okay.
So in coming back, I've been able to adapt a lot of those skills to be able to do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for multiple companies, as well as an on-air role. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like it. Now, speaking to that, I know that you and Dave run a wrestling school, right?
It's Dave's wrestling school. I've been a part of it over the past 6 months or so.
Okay.
I've kind of backed away from it over the last probably 2 months, just for lack of interest in manager candidates. Really.
Oh, okay.
That's my end of it was, I would benefit from managers also for like valets, people who came in to not be a wrestler. That would be, my niche. And really, there just hasn't been a lot of interest in people a lot of people go like, oh, I would love to come train with JT. And then I go, oh, well, it costs money. And they're like, oh, well, never mind then.
It's not free. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm a little bit tougher than what they expected. They're in people's minds, and I could get on a whole rant about how this is why the manager position sucks at wrestling today. But the mindset of these people is, oh, well, I don't want to take bumps, or I don't want to, get in the ring and get hurt, so I'll just be a manager. Well, my I don't know if you've seen any of my work, but I get thrown around a lot.
Yes.
And which is funny because I'm bigger than half the guys. But the reason behind that is I want anybody that I train, that I put out there, to be a legitimate manager. I want them to go out there to add to the match and not to take away, to know when to interject themselves. And if they have to get physically involved, I don't want them to look like a sack of crap, when they have to take a clothesline. They're going to learn how to bump. They're going to learn how to roll. They're going to learn basics to protect themselves and whoever they're in the ring with. And a lot of people, they were like, oh, well, I didn't want to get bruised up. Well, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to train you.
Yeah, you don't want them to end up like Michael Cole when he tries to take a bump.
Oh, my God, that's so bad.
Yeah. And look, I love the guy to death, but there was another, I'm not even going to say his name, but there was another guy at Rockstar for a while, a manager. And one of the reasons that he lost his job was that CZW was in town, and they were doing a dual pay-per-view with Rockstar Pro. So, again, a big stage. He was involved in the match, and he was supposed to take a bump from DJ Hyde on this chair. And it turned into, like, the most embarrassing and ginger roll, that you've ever seen, where he just kind of, like, rolled over the chair. And it's one of the reasons I think he lost his spot, just because it was put up or shut up time, and the guy wasn't a trained wrestler. He didn't know what he was doing, and he ended up really making the match look, really putting a black eye on the match, if that makes sense.
Sure.
All right, now it's time. It's time for
five random ass questions. Yeah.
Alrighty, JT, are you ready for this is our little fun thing that we do, our 5 random ass questions. So I'm gonna kick it off, and I kind of teased it a little bit earlier. Maybe not, I didn't. But ready? Are you ready?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
All right, number 1, let's hear it. Jenna Jameson or Brianna Banks? Go.
That's Brianna Banks for me.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, nice.
Get it right, Brian.
There we go. Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, nice.
All right, number 2. Let's see.
What's your favorite Denzel Washington movie?
That's a good one.
I would have to plead the fifth on that one. I couldn't tell you a single one.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Fail, Golda.
Okay, well, what's your favorite Nick Cage movie, not counting Con Air or Face Off?
Oh my.
So specific.
Yeah, I would have definitely said Face Off.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I know, right? Because he's Castor Troy. Anyway, let's see. I can't. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know that I can think of one off the top of my head. Was he in Broken Arrow?
Yes.
Yes. Very good one.
Christian
Awesome
Slater.
Awesome soundtrack too.
There you go.
Wait, no, that was. Was he? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. My
Well,
question.
either way, Broken Arrow was an awesome movie.
Yeah, it was.
My question for you is: who's your favorite superhero or comic book character?
Ooh. I guess I've got to say Batman.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that's a mainstream answer, but I was never a major comic book guy, but the Dark Knight movies really did it for me.
There we go. All right, how about this? Do you have your own Netflix password or borrow from a friend?
No, I have my own.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, so you're the real MVP.
Yeah, stand-up man.
They're paying for everybody's Netflix.
I have my own, but I borrow Hulu. Does that count?
No, see, all the guys from my group, they borrow my password.
Yeah, you're the real MVP. Exactly. Okay, all right. What's your favorite sport, not wrestling?
Favorite sport, non-wrestling. I guess I have to say football. I'm a bigger college fan than I am professional. So
Well, that's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, college football's good.
Yeah, play.
All right, that's our 5 questions for J.T. Davidson. We appreciate you having coming on the show with us.
JT, do you have any plugs or anything that you want to throw out there for us to check out or any of our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to follow me on social media, Facebook, it's just J.T. Davidson. If you don't know what I look like, I guarantee you'll see a bunch of big ass belts on my hands. As far as Instagram and Twitter, they're both the same. So it's J.T. Davidson OI4K, and that again is on on Twitter and on Instagram. Also check out www.prowrestlingtees.com/OI4K if you want to look at any of our merch.
Very cool. And just one more time, what was that link for the match at what was it? Killer Christmas.
Yes.
RockstarProNetwork.com.
There we go.
All right, great. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us as our inaugural guest over here on the Indy McIndyface show. We appreciate it, JT.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Oh, that went great, man.
Well, thank you.
All right, and we're starting a T-shirt wall here. Do you have any T-shirts for OI4K that you have like some that haven't been able to sell or whatnot?
Yeah, I'm sure I could get you something.
Okay, because every person we're going to ask them if they can send us a shirt, and we're going to put them on the wall here. We're going to fill the entire studio with Indy shirts.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, just send me an address, and I'll see what I can do.
Okay, appreciate that, JT, man.
Thanks
Have a
again,
good day.
JT.
All right,
Pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
All right, many thanks to J.T. Davidson for giving us a good 45 minutes of his time for that wonderful interview.
I'm actually very Brianna Banks. Wow.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I mean, I didn't know who she was until I looked it up, and I must concur.
The more you know.
Yes, exactly. But, I mean, he was good to talk to, very informative, and it's nice to hear a different perspective than just the wrestlers.
For sure. No, I mean, like you said, it's really great. I mean, he's been around, and he also, he's trained as a wrestler, and this is just what he's focusing on right now. And I'm a fan. It was great talking to him and learning more about what brought him in and why he's a part of wrestling.
Right. So go to Pro Wrestling Tees, look up OI4K, buy some shirts. Go to Rockstar Wrestling, look them up. They have their own network. You can watch all their shows. And I guess he's CZW too, so look up CZW.
Right.
They have plenty of stuff. They have a nice dojo. So, go on social media, look at all their stuff, and you're going to be impressed.
Yeah.
So
sure. Thanks again.
All right. For Brian, this is your boy Golda. This has been Volume 1 of Indy McIndyface.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Marked Out Podcast is recorded, edited, distributed, and marketed at U-Record Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. For more information on optimizing your podcast for increased listenership, check out U-Record on Facebook, Twitter, and email sales@urecordstudios.com or visit the website www.urecordstudios.com.
Yes! 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 Yes!
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.